everyone, this is Sweetly. I wanted to make a quick video going over speed and action forward in Star Rail. If you're wondering what speeds to target for your sparkle and DPS, as well as why, watch this video to find out. First, a quick overview of turns and speed in Star Rail. If you already understand everything, feel free to skip to the sparkle speed section, or you can just listen for fun. For me, it really helped to envision each character's turn as them running on a track of 10,000 meters. The 10,000 is just the number that Star Rail picked for their turn length. Every time the character reaches the end of the 10,000 track, they get to take their turn, and then they start running the next lap towards their next turn. You can think of the action values displayed here as a unit of time, and it indicates how long it takes the character to reach the end of their lap. If you don't have action values enabled in your game, you can toggle them over here in the settings. I think it's pretty useful to turn them on to see the values so you can gauge how far away your characters are from taking their next turn. The closer the number is to 0, the closer they are to their turn. Speed in Star Rail determines how fast your characters move, and you can directly convert speed into action value with action value equals 10,000 over speed. For example, if Sparkle has 200 speed, then she'll take 50 action value for each turn. Similarly, if Dan He has 100 speed, he will take 100 action value for each turn. So Sparkle can take 2 turns for every one of Dan He's turns in this scenario. For cycle-based content, you can think of the cycle counter as a coach, running alongside your allies and enemies on the battlefield. Whenever the coach finishes running their lap, the cycle count goes up by 1. Initially, the coach starts off slow to give everyone a little head start, and then they run at 66.67 speed, so it takes them 150 action value to finish running the first lap. Then, they speed up and run the rest of the laps at 100 speed, so each cycle after only takes them 100 action value. Whenever the wave refreshes, everyone gets reset back to the very beginning, so you'll get another 150 action value for the first cycle and 100 after. Most 0 cycle clears for Memories of Chaos make use of this slow coach speed during the initial cycle to finish each wave right before the 150 action value, so when the wave refreshes, it resets everyone back, and then you try and finish the second wave also before 150 action value. So how can we make our characters run faster or take more turns? In terms of speed buffs, normal speed buffs like Asta's 50 flat speed to all allies, or the Hackerspace 4-piece % speed buff, affects each character's speed starting from wherever they were during the lap when the buff was cast. So for instance, if Dan He receives Asta's buff at the start of his turn, then assuming he starts with 100 base speed, with his new 150 speed, he would be able to take his turn in 66.7 action value instead of the normal 100 action value. However, if he received the buff while he was already halfway through his lap, since he already ran 5,000 meters at the initial 100 speed, he would only get to utilize the buff for the rest of the 5,000 meters, so he would take his turn in 83.3 action value. This is one of the reasons you usually want to cast your speed buffs on the character you're trying to buff either during their turn or right after they take their turn so they can get the most value. Speed buffs also benefit from the buff extension mechanic. For example, if you use Hanya's ultimate during Dan He turn, her ultimate buff turn count will not decrease after his turn. This is because characters cannot benefit at all from speed buffs received during their turn, so any speed buffs received this way, along with any other bundled buffs, are always extended to last 1 turn longer. So where does Sparkle come in? Sparkle does not buff speed directly, but action forwards your characters by 50%. You can think of action forward in this game as a teleport for your characters, with the distance they teleport equal to the action forward percentage times 10,000, which is the total track length. Action forward is more useful the slower your DPS is. For example, if you have a super fast DPS, assuming they're just a bit slower than Sparkle, then by the time Sparkle gets to go, then they're probably also 90% of the way to the end. So then Sparkle's 50% action forward would only effectively move them 10% of the distance forward. What this means is that when playing with Sparkle, your DPS usually does not want to be on speed boots unless you have a really OP double crit speed boots. Since with Sparkle's 50% action forward mechanic, as long as Sparkle is not 2 times as fast as your DPS, assuming she uses her skill on them every turn, your DPS's speed will pretty much be set to your Sparkle speed automatically. So if your Sparkle is 140 speed, it will be as if your DPS is also 140 speed. You can see the change in action value when you target your characters with her skill. So now that we've established Sparkle speed equals DPS speed, does that mean Sparkle should be as fast as possible? Should you aim for 134, 156, 161? Should you use a relic with 20 crit damage or one with 4 speed but no crit damage? The short answer is that there is no correct answer, and you can probably just pick whichever one you like. It really does not matter as much as you think it does. Speed breakpoints are not magical numbers that will increase your damage automatically if you hit them. They are speeds that can help you squeeze in an extra turn, assuming it takes you a certain number of cycles to clear Memories of Chaos. For example, if it takes you 4 cycles to clear Memories of Chaos, then it makes no difference in the turn count if you have 128 speed or 145 speed on your DPS, since both speeds will let your character take 7 turns within those 4 cycles. If you really want to optimize, and you have a general idea of how many cycles you can clear Memories of Chaos in, here is a speed chart with some helpful breakpoints. This chart shows you how many turns your characters will take based on their speed during the first 3 cycles of Memories of Chaos. So if you find yourself usually clearing in 2 or 3 cycles, and the extra 4 speed can get you to those breakpoints for an extra turn, then you should use the 4 speed relic over the 20 crit damage relic. For pure fiction, since you just have a 3 cycle limit, you only really care about the 3 cycle breakpoints. For both of these, I put the exact speed required with an extra decimal point, since even though Star Rail does not display decimals on your speed in game, they do actually store them internally and use them for the actual calculations. One simple way to check your actual speed is by using enka.network, which is also a pretty helpful site to share character builds with friends. Generally, you want Sparkle to be quite a bit faster than your DPS, but no more than 2 times their speed. But since the base speed of characters is usually 90 plus, you don't really have to worry about having too much speed on Sparkle. One exception I did want to mention is, if you're playing Sparkle with Seele, you might actually want to make Sparkle slower than Seele, since Seele's built-in speed buff on her skill naturally makes her quite fast, and there's not too much point in action forwarding her, so in this case, you can try making Sparkle slower than Seele, so Seele can always get the full benefit of the action forward. TLDR, aim for fast Sparkle unless you have Seele, but don't worry about the exact speed unless you have a general idea of how many cycles you're trying to clear Memories of Chaos in, and then you can check the breakpoints chart to see which breakpoint you want to try reaching. If you have Seele, you can try playing a slow Sparkle. If you're still listening, thank you for watching this video. I hope my explanations made sense. Like and subscribe if you enjoyed the video, and if you have any questions, let me know in the comments. Good luck on your Sparkle pulls!